Welcome back to another therapy session on this podcast we call IJ Subito. Inter fall 1-0 to Liverpool on a controversial penalty. And now the outlook of our Champions League campaign has majorly changed. I'm your host, Andrew. Nobody here with me today. Jay fell asleep. It is midnight in Australia. I understand he's pretty damn old these days. He just had his birthday. He's up to like 36. Might as well be a dinosaur. So I'm just going to roll through this thing. There's been some requests for content, and we always deliver. Pretty sure Irfan's in bed, so we do what we have to do. That was the worst collective team performance of the Kivu era by far. It's a short era, but come on, guys. We created absolutely nothing yesterday. And there's just no way I can sit here and rationalize that we deserve to win that game based on our performance. And if you want to say we deserve to draw, like whatever, you can have it. We can have the conversation, but I don't care about the draw. I didn't go into the Liverpool match wanting a point. We had this prime opportunity, and we talked about this in the preview. You have a reeling Liverpool side in full crisis. Their fans are questioning Slot's future as the manager. Their icon Salah creates a media firestorm with his interview. He gets left out of the squad. And you just felt all the momentum in our favor. And we did what we always do, which is we ended their skid. We gave them newfound hope. And now I'm reading the Liverpool fans saying they were right all along and Slot's the guy. And they're parading about how hard of a fixture this is, going to the Miazza and beating Inter. It's like, wow, no one has done this in 3 years in the Champions League. What a performance from the boys. That's what we're dealing with. And that's why I want to talk about this being the worst performance under Kivu, because let's look at the circumstances. This same Liverpool side has been bleeding goals for weeks, and we mustered close to nothing. This Liverpool side has conceded 3 or more goals in 4 of their last 6 games. And we just hand them a clean sheet. Instead, we have Thuram trying casual back heels to no one in the box. It was just an unprofessional performance. And pick who you want from the attack. It was Thuram, who just didn't have anything come off for him all night. It's Lautaro, who's better at running around like a chicken with his head cut off than he is at actually generating attacking chances. And who else on this team stepped up? And I'm not going to turn this into a Luis Enrique slaughter podcast, but we need Dumfries back because he would have at least tried to force something on the right-hand side. Luis Enrique, far too passive for me. DeMarco, far too passive for me. And I'm just ashamed that we created so little in this match. And let's talk about some of the incidents on the defensive side of the ball. So, Bastoni, how can you not be mad at Bastoni for what happened? I mean, it was just so lazy by him. Why do you have to pull the jersey there? Wirtz is in front of you. There was no need for him to intervene in that way. It was sheer laziness. He didn't have to do it. He chose to do it anyway. And you gift wrap Liverpool a penalty. And I get it. It's not a penalty. Every Liverpool fan, if you read the analysis on The Athletic, everyone agrees this isn't a penalty. But who cares, man? Like, we probably should have conceded a goal on the header in the first half. This is on Bastoni. This wasn't some 50-50 live ball action that is open to interpretation. This isn't us against Milan in the derby where you have, an attacking sequence in the box that is somewhat dangerous and it's all happening at high speed. What happens? No, this is Bastoni putting in a low effort goal on Wirt's shirt rather than properly intervening. And it's disappointing for me because this is sort of my final strike with the core of this team. Our big 3 is Lautaro, Barella, and Bastoni, and we've complained about Lautaro and his lack of impact in big games, in meaningful games, for 2 years now. Jay and Irfan have both roasted Barella. You have to, Jay, I think he's kidding when he calls Barella like a Di Natale of this generation, and Irfan insists Barella has more to offer in the midfield, but And I get it. I get the Barella criticisms. But through all the criticisms of Lautaro and Barella, the one guy who has mostly skated by has always been Bastoni. He was always subbed off too early. Our record with him off the pitch versus on the pitch showed like he needed to be the guy playing the most minutes. He's the world-class defender. And he let us down against Liverpool in the most boring, predictable way possible. And ultimately, that's on him because we're playing him more. We're not subbing him off late in these matches. And has anything really changed versus last year? The answer is no. So I'm incredibly disappointed in Bastoni. He's one of my favorite players. He's one of the best players in the world. He is a good defender. I won't accept the slander I'm seeing online of people saying, oh, he's actually, you know what, he's not a good defender, and actually, he's just a fancy attacking player. No, that's not true. Bastoni is a good defensive center back. He just got lazy. He got cute with the shirt pull, and it cost us. We knew Sommer wasn't saving that penalty, by the way. Has Jan Sommer ever saved a penalty in his life? He certainly hasn't while at Inter, except for that one ill-fated Fiorentina penalty that was kicked right at him. Anyway, not to get too far down that path. So, let's hit on Kivu. Kivu's record in big games is becoming untenable. I could explain away the Juve Milan results. The Juve results, Sommer had his worst game as an Inter keeper. It was the beginning of his decline, and these were long-range bombs that had no business going in. Okay? The Milan match. I wasn't thrilled with our attack against the Milan side, but we conceded very little. And the only goal we conceded in the match was once again Sommer failing to properly palm a ball away and putting it right in the trajectory of, I don't even remember who scored the goal. Was it Pulisic? I have no idea. I think it was Pulisic. He palms it right into his trajectory. He scores. It's like, okay, I can explain those away to you. And even the Napoli game, we were screwed by the awful penalty call. So I, who, despite what you may think listening to this podcast, consider myself a pretty optimistic person, at least by the standards Jay sets, I was able to explain away some of Kivu's earlier failures in the big matches. And keep in mind, like, this guy's a rookie manager. There's going to be some growing pains. But I'm out of excuses for the last two European capitulations. Like, what was that against Liverpool? We had no desire to win the match. It's like we were going there for the point. We just wanted to get a single point. And for that, I blame Kivu. That's his cross to bear, man. Like, we never even put up a fight on the pitch, and a lot of it has to do with puzzling lineup decisions that kind of harken back to the Inzaghi days and the unwillingness to be bold. Let's talk about Mkhitaryan. It's really time for this guy to go. He doesn't have enough juice to perform against the top sides anymore, and choosing to start him over an in-form Zielinski was a baffling decision. Starting Acerbi, a slow, declining center back, over Bisek made little sense to me. And I told you last episode I was expecting the old Inzaghi standby starting 11, and I view my expectations that I knew that lineup was coming anyway as a failure and an indictment of Kivu. Because we have enough evidence to know by now that that lineup isn't good enough in these spots. We have ample evidence. And we just keep running it back, man. We keep playing the same record. And we keep getting the same results. We're wondering, why does this keep happening to us? Why not try something different? Why not take a different approach to things? I have not seen nearly enough from Mkhitaryan to believe that he's going to be the difference maker in a big game. What big game moment has Mkhitaryan had in the last 2 years? Of course, he had the great goal against Milan in the Derby semifinal in 2022. That's honestly the last time Mkhitaryan had a great match against one of our direct rivals in one of these big games. He needs to be on the bench. This guy is clearly at the end of his career. Zielinski is finally rounding to form, and you decide to go with Mkhitaryan. Just horrible choice. And the injuries to Çalhanoğlu and Acerbi certainly hurt us. They forced us to burn too early subs, too early substitution blocks. I get it. But going back to my Kivu complaints, why did Kivu wait so long to make some changes in this match? Why did we wait until the 82nd minutes to make any changes when we weren't doing anything on the pitch? And the answer is complacency. He was content with the draw. He was trying to see out the point. We weren't in the game, and he was fine with it. We were never playing our football, and he was fine with it. Why was he trying to shepherd this game to a draw? I get it if you look at the table and you look at the big picture, and I'll do that in a second, that getting a point would have been a big difference for the Champions League. But why are you playing for a draw? You are Inter. You are at home. You haven't lost a home Champions League match in like 3 years. Why are you settling? It was just an unacceptable attitude, and I put a lot of that on Kivu. So taking a step back and looking big picture, I am deeply concerned about the Çalhanoğlu injury. Him and Bastoni are the two players in this team who are irreplaceable. We don't have anyone in the squad capable of playing their positions or playing their positions well at all. So keep in mind with Hakan, he is our best defensive midfielder. And I know it doesn't sound like much because we don't have good defensive midfielders, but still, he is the best of the bunch. And now we are put in this awkward position with him hurt where there's no combination of midfielders that is going to make me confident in our defensive abilities. Cortese, not great defensively. Zielinski, outright poor defensively. Sucic, outright poor defensively. This is going to be a problem. And if I may take a minute to complain about management, because you all know I love to do so, this is why the Diouf signing in the summer never made any sense. You work hard to unload Asllani. It was a chore to get rid of him. Very few teams wanted him, and you ended up having to accept a loan with an option that we all know is not going to be redeemed. So you finally free yourself of this mediocre player. And what did you choose to replace him with exactly? We needed someone who could split time with Çalhanoğlu. If Kivu wanted to switch formations from a 3-4-3 from the 3-5-2, then it's on him because he's the one who left us hanging here then. Where what are we supposed to do now? So we go out and we sign Diouf. And what, are we deciding Barella is the best fit? Why? Barella is one of the best Mezzalas in Italy. He is a true number 8. It doesn't make any sense for us to make our team worse by sliding him over to Regista. So now we're caught with our pants down. And this is not news. Hakan is always injured. He gets injured at least once per season, if not more. I just don't get the logic of not choosing to have a proper backup form on the roster. And I'm not saying you need to hire a Regista in the same vein as him. I'm not saying you need to get the exact same player. I've talked about this. A defensive midfielder in that spot would make a huge difference in the composition of the team. Instead, we're going square peg, round hole. We have a bunch of redundant capabilities in the midfield, and I don't know how we're going to survive with these guys playing together because they are incompatible. And reports are Hakan will be back for the Supercopa. Honestly, I'd rest him through the competition. You guys all know I don't care about the Supercopa, but whatever. I am concerned about the injury. That's my takeaway. Acerbi, I'm less concerned about. Hopefully, if he's back, of course, I want to have Acerbi in the squad. But Biseka, Kanji, Bastoni, that's our back line. We shouldn't be deviating from it. The other big picture discussion we have to have is the wheels falling off our Champions League campaign. We knew the deal going into this thing: 4 easy cakewalk matches to start the tournament, followed by 4 games against some of the biggest sides in Europe. We passed the easy test, as we so often do, and after the Atletico game, I wasn't ready to panic yet. Remember, we lost to Leverkusen last year. You can have a bad away fixture in this Champions League format, but boy, does this loss to Liverpool not completely change the calculus of things. Our odds to finish in the top 8 fell by 30% after the loss to Liverpool. We needed this game. This was a paramount game. It was our best chance for points left on the Champions League fixture list. Everything was set up for us. A reeling Liverpool side at home. We had picked ourselves up and played our best overall match of the Kivu era against Como, and we collapse. We don't even bother showing up. And now we have 2 fixtures left: home to Arsenal, away to Dortmund. We need 4 points from the 2 games to feel good about finishing the top 8. I have no confidence we'll win either game. I mean, I'm tired of being let down in big spots, and until this team shows me something in a big spot, I'm not going to pick them anymore. I'm done picking this team to win a big game. I understand the law of averages says eventually we are going to win one of these things. Until we do, I'm not going to pick us because I can't fathom it happening right now. They have let me down every time. I can't explain to you why this keeps happening. I can't explain to you why we can't ever get ourselves over the finish line. But until we do it, I'm done giving this team the benefit of the doubts. I'll conclude by briefly looking ahead to our match against Genoa. This Genoa side was one of the worst in the league when Inter manager runner-up Vieira was in charge. I was actually at the Genoa match against Lazio in September when they were trounced 3-0 in an awful performance. That just proved to me that Vieira was an awful fit for manager. Side note, beautiful stadium, one of the coolest I've seen, in a great spot in the city. I really enjoyed getting to experience that. But so Vieira leaves and De Rossi joins, and that coincides with a small bump in form for them. They're not out of the relegation zone. They've done it by beating up on some bad sides. They've beaten Sassuolo, Verona, Cagliari, I believe. So I'm not going to throw them a party. The increase in performance, the increase in form, I think is mainly a result of the schedule. But I will give De Rossi credit because they are scoring a lot of goals right now. They're playing a more attacking style of football, and it's showing in the results. So I give him credit. You all know how I feel about Frendrup, so I'm looking forward to watching him play in this match. But the danger man, if there's someone you need to watch out for in this side, is Malinowski, the former Atalanta player. He can change a match with this cannon of a leg. Really talented player despite getting up there in age, so he's the one to watch. The thing I want to keep an eye on for our lineup and what we're doing here is our midfield trio. I just talked about this in the Champions League recap. I don't know where you go from here. I'm guessing your answer is Barella at Regista. This is a hot take, because I'll be the only person alive outside the country of Italy calling for a Frattesi start here. But I would actually start Zielinski on the left and Frattesi on the right. I just like that combination. You have a little bit of everything in the midfield. If you put Zielinski, you have someone who's sharp on the ball, can pick out a pass. You keep Barella back, and he is both dangerous. He can pick a pass over the defense, but he also has the capability to at least somewhat participate in the Hakan style of play and distribute the ball amongst the center backs and out to the wings. I do have concerns about him defensively, but there's really no solving for that problem. And I'd start Frattesi for the attacking prowess. We need someone making box runs, especially with Luis Enrique on the right. Isn't progressive enough for me. He hasn't shown a willingness to just go at the defense. He did it against Como, and I was feeling good about myself. But then he plays Liverpool, and he goes back to being a scared, timid self. So I'd like to see Frattesi on the right to force the issue a little bit. Make Luis Enrique pass the ball forward, because Frattesi won't be available. If there's one thing Frattesi doesn't do, is he doesn't make himself available for short passes. So maybe force more to Luis Enrique by giving Frattesi a start. I'm sure what will ultimately end up happening is Sucic will get the start. I just don't see the point of a Sucic, Zielinski, Barella midfield. That doesn't do anything for me. I don't know what you're going to accomplish in a match with that setup, other than a lot of boring, predictable possession. So keep me away from that. I want to see Frattesi start. I wouldn't mind seeing Diouf start, to be honest. I know it's not going to happen, especially in a away fixture, but that guy can dream. We haven't won a game away to Genoa since 2020. Slightly misleading stat, because they were relegated for a year or two down there, but we have drawn with them 3 times at home since then. This is a tough matchup for us. We tend to win the games we should win in the league, so I'll go ahead and predict a slog, a boring 1-0 victory, courtesy of Bonnie. So this is a Subito. You aren't going to get a hot betting tip. I'm not a gambler. I don't have anything I can offer you there. I'm still suffering through Sharon Moore's demise. Shout out to those who understand that reference. I'm going to wrap things up here. Forza Inter. Catch you all later, and thanks for listening.